Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday morning to you all. Thank you all for being here. I've been watching the chat. You guys are already grooving and moving this morning. So thank you very much for being here, my family. Now we're going to get into this disclaimer that we got to do every time we come on because of YouTube being such a pain in the butt. All their AI bots and everything censoring us without even the consent of finding out what's going on and if it's true and if it's not. They don't even do their own fact checking anymore. Imagine that. Anyways, the copyright disclaimer is this channel may use some copyrighted material without specific authorization of the owner, but contends that it falls under the fair use, which is the Copyright Act of 1976. Nighthawk High Strange, this podcast channel, and all the podcasts on the channel declare fair use of any and all content, including the music, to be used for purposes such as criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, research, parody, and let's not forget the entertainment value. Per Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, otherwise known as the fair use. Alrighty, that's out of the way. Anybody that wants can please share this out and hit that like button. The more we hit that like button and the more we share, the better the algorithm. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and just, check to make sure you are subscribed. And if you're not, it's free. It don't cost nothing. And we talk about some really weird stuff on here. So that being said, I'm going to get to the chat and get that picture off of there so you all can see our bright, shiny faces. I got Eric here too. And I'm not sure how bright and shiny he is right now, but there we go. Let's get into it. Did you get some sleep?
Yeah, finally.
Good. Hey, Roxanne and Juno, good to see you. Girl with a gong, good to see you. Ida, good to see you. All righty, there's that Kyle. Good to see you, Kyle. Hope you're doing well, my friend. And 64 is not that old. Yes, I've been watching the chat, Kyle, so you're not that old. Trust me. All righty, there's that bizarre and that unknown guy. And there's David, and I believe Melissa's in here too. Ray, good to see you in here, brother. That's nice. Haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're Dis Heifer, good to see you. I love that name, by the way, Dis Heifer.
Yeah.
That's freaking awesome. Some of the actual like chat names and stuff as far as like personal, accounts and stuff on social media are really cool. You guys think up some really good ones. Lori, good to see you. Good to have you in here. Hope everything is going well. All right. Camo Dad, there he is. All right. Camo Dad, good to see you. I'm glad you're here, brother. Glad you're here. All righty. And, today's subject, we're going to start. Deidre, good to see you. Good to see you. It's nice to have you in here. I don't get to see you that much in the chat, but it's great to see you. I want to thank everybody for being here. Okay, first and foremost. And I got to do this again. I got to remember to do this every time we come on. I keep on forgetting. You guys got to remind me. I want to give a special shout out to all those beautiful babies that were born in this date in history, or whether they're born today. Whether you're 0 to 196, happy birthday. And if you're 196 going on 197, I got to get you on this podcast because you're a freaking miracle, man. You're like a biblical miracle. Okay. Anyways, happy birthday to all those beautiful babies born today. And let's see, did I miss anybody in the chat? Yeah, I did. Valerie, good to see you in here. All right, let's see. I think that's everybody. I said hello to Roxanne. Got to say hello to Roxanne. I don't want to be hexed or
Who's Roxanne?
All right.
Oh,
who's Roxanne? Oh, don't get her going. She's gonna get you, man. She's gonna get
She
you.
started it. She fired first.
She started it. That's kind of like two kids riding in the back of a parent's car going, "He touched me." No, I didn't. He touched me. Come on, guys. Oh, wow. Oh, man. We are going to get into some. Yeah. I told you. I told you. She's going to get you, man. We're going to start off with talking about water babies and the little people, because a lot of people have been talking about the little people and on a lot of different podcasts. And I know two of them personally that are probably with us, here today. But, one thing we've got to remember, okay, when it comes to Native American and little people, there's a lot to be said about the whole faith thing, but you have to also understand, I'm sure Juno would agree to this. There are undiscovered tribes of people in the forest around the globe, okay, not just in America, but around the globe, okay. And some of them call them pygmies. Some of them call them other things. We call them little people. To us, they're special. To us, they can be very, very malevolent in nature if they don't like you, if they get a bad feeling about you. Griff, good to see you. But I can personally attest. I've actually, the reason I do a lot of the stuff that I interact with in the forest, in the mountains and stuff, and all that out in the country, is because I set up to do that. I enter the wood lines and all that in the forest around me, and I'll lay tobacco down like Eric would do. But I go a little bit further and beyond that. I go and I take things that I think the little people would like to have and appreciate as a gift. Okay. Because whether you believe it or not, they are there. You just don't see them. You can call it like the leprechaun theory if you want. The gnome theory. Little people are also called gnomes, by the way, around the world. There's a connection to the Fae possibly. But my people were under the belief that they were just a real type of lost tribe, just like the Bigfoot. Okay. And we used to actually leave gifts for them. And the water babies are the same way. We used to leave tobacco offerings on the water so we could have safe passage through the water. In other words, we would gift the water babies and the Fae and the guardians of the water not to basically harm us and for us to enter into the agreement to let us cross the water in a good way. Okay. There were reasons for us to do certain things when we were out in the middle of nowhere. Okay. So Daryl, good to see you. I like Ike. Good to see you. Twisted. Good to see you in here. There's a lot to be said. When it comes to the little people around the world. I mean, there's different ways of dealing with them. Different ways they interact with, let's say, the public. Because you have to understand that first off, you've gotta believe in them in order to really see them. And if you are hesitant on taking that step in faith and believing in them, you're probably never going to experience them. I had a friend of mine tell me a really horrific story one time that he had happen to him and his friend while they were camping one time. And as a matter of fact, it was somewhere in the Colorado area they were camping. And it wasn't high up in altitude, but it was in a secluded area. I think that like the closest home was like 5-6 miles away. So I mean, it was pretty secluded, for that matter. but they were sleeping around the campfire. And at that time in the summer, it was perfectly fine to sleep outside in Colorado. You didn't have to worry about inclement weather during summer. Um, but they were sleeping in the sleeping bags around the fire, and they kept the fire going. He would get up every couple hours and stoke the fire and throw more wood on it and all that. And he explained, they were there and they were doing some Bigfoot hunting. And he went to lay back down, and as soon as his head hit the ground, he kind of propped himself up, and he noticed that there was something moving by his partner, by his friend, that was sleeping across from the fire from him. So it was illuminated from the fire, so you could see his friend. And anyways, he went on to say that he saw his friend lift up about 3 or 4 or 5 inches off the ground. Okay. And basically he could make out these little shadow figures. Okay. Now, see, here's the thing. Little people, they can arrive in different forms. Okay. They can make themselves translucent. They can make themselves in shadow form, which I see a lot of in shadow form. Okay. Um, or they can make themselves literally flesh and blood in front of you. Okay. Now, there's different types of little people too. You have the real little people, which is what I'm describing right now, which are more of a supernatural type of a being, like a fae. And then you have the indigenous type that are about 3 feet tall. Okay. 2 to 3 feet tall. Which if you ever experience them, you see them dressed in like old type of skins and stuff, almost like native people would be dressed. Same type of jewelry and everything made out of bone and stuff, chokers, all kinds of stuff. They would wear breastplates, and they have their warrior classes too, just like they would, their hierarchy too. So that being said, my buddy says all of a sudden his buddy his buddy weighed like 190 pounds or 185 pounds, he said. And he wasn't very big. He was like 5'10", 5'11". And he saw his buddy's sleeping bag move a little bit. And he kind of thought, well, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just seeing things. Maybe I'm just too tired, from stoking the fire, or got smoke in my eye or something, And basically, the sleeping bag started moving towards the wood line from the area, the grassy knoll that they were camped in. Okay. And he started shouting at his buddy to wake his buddy up. And as soon as his buddy woke up, the sleeping bag dropped down. And he said all he saw was a bunch of little shadows going every which way into the tree line. Now, that isn't the first time I've heard something like that happen. I mean, you have stories of back in the old days, especially in Europe. I forget the one tale where the little people tied the so-called giant up and bound him and stuff. And basically, I can't remember the name of the tale though. God bless it, I can't remember.
Yeah, I was trying to think of it earlier because I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I can't think of the name of it though. Anyways, you all know what I'm talking about. I can't, if you know the name of the tale, it's from Europe, where the little people tied the so-called giant. Gulliver's Travel. Thank you,
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yes, yeah, Gulliver's Travels.
Looking that up.
Yeah, it's almost the same kind of almost like a gremlin type of a mentality where they mess with the big people, But he was really shook up about it. He didn't get any sleep the rest of the night, and I don't believe his buddy did either, to tell you the truth. So that being told that, years ago, kind of, confirmed, that, there are different types. Okay. And whether we believe it or not, it is what it is, but they do exist on some level, on some form. Okay. So Scott, good to see you. Good to see you in the chat. Um, I don't know. I know you've done some research on it too, but as far as the Native American aspect of my people go, I'm pretty open to the whole theory of the little people being both physical and supernatural.
Oh yeah. I mean, definitely. I mean, your face. Some of your face going to fall into that. Some of your, I mean, hobbits, dwarves,
Mm-hmm.
gnomes. I mean, the list goes on and
Yep.
on and on about all these different types of little people, and they range
Yep.
from 4 inches up. I mean, there
Yep.
was a video of supposedly one that crashed into a dirt bike. I can't remember where it was or what it was called, but I mean, because that video's been out for a while. Pugwuggy, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um,
Pugwudgies are very big in folklore for the Anunnaki and anybody that is indigenous to the New England area. There's been several sightings
mhm.
of the Pugwudgies in New England, and they're the ones that try to coax you to come to them. And whenever somebody goes towards them, you don't see that person again. So they are obviously a fae type of a being. So
Shadow, stop. You're not going to sharpen your claws on that.
Oops, I hit the mute on the wrong one. Sorry, guys. I was getting onto a cat. She's sitting there scratching her claws on the ladder. I'm like, come on. Yeah, no, it's I mean, all that stuff. I believe there is. I mean, I swore I could have seen something out here before. I mean, hell, literally, I can't remember which one it was that's known to shapeshift, but I was yeah, Shadow needs love. Shadow just got love. She was on my lap during the beginning of the show. But
well, I'm still feeling rough, Scott. Still feeling rough, but I'm healing slowly. So, like I said, the hardest part is getting my energy level back and being able to breathe correctly after the surgery. So, other than that, I'm okay. Thank you for asking,
yeah.
by the way.
I remember one time I was out in my woods and I could have swore I seen this fox, which I have foxes. I have gray foxes. I have red foxes right here. But I literally watched it. I was on one side of the valley. It was on the other side of the valley. And I literally watched it go behind a tree and then disappear. It didn't go any other way. It went behind this tree and it was gone.
Yep.
And
And that
I was like, oh,
and that could be because we all know that the trees have strong energy and they can be used for portals, just like water can, just like fog can. The roots of the tree go real deep, and I wouldn't be surprised if the little people don't realize that and have certain ways of getting into their domain where they actually reside, away from humanity, and have a means of escape too. So.
well, I mean, look at your leprechauns. They're known to live either in old buildings or under trees. There's a lot of fae, like in Irish mythology. You got what's called the fairy mounds. Okay, once again in the ground. This stuff is all over, and it's in it's in lure all over the world. It's not just Ireland and stuff like that. But I mean, there's several types of the fae that is known to live underground. A lot of fae are little people, and it makes sense.
Yep.
It really does. So I mean, I could see it, and that's kind of what I took that fox thing was this is probably a fae. I'm not going to chase after it. I see the paw prints. Oh yeah, I love watching them. They come up close to my house. I find the wee people terrifying in some respects, Scott.
Yeah.
As long as you don't upset them. Well, I mean, there is certain types that will come after you, Scott. Yes. Generally, as long as you don't upset them.
The actual general belief is as long as you treat them with respect and gift them something, you're going to not have a bad experience with them. But they are definitely going to be watching you every second of the day that you're around their location, because they don't trust humanity at all, and you can't blame them. I mean, look what we do to the world, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. But even in Ireland, they still have laws that you are not supposed to mess with these fairy mounds. So, it's that tells you how much that they believe in this stuff. They'll have it blocked off, and they'll have signs saying "Fairy Mound, do not enter." Fairy mounds or fae are known to take people, especially young children, away. If you go to crawl in a hole, a fae hole, you're probably going to disappear.
And that hence is why I titled today's podcast about the little people, and taking people that are wandering off by themselves in national parks. And
No,
it is happening. When you're dealing with the little people, you're dealing with, like it was brought up earlier, the pugwudgies. You're dealing with what some of us indigenous people call water babies, who are basically like like an evil gnome, that have been known to abduct children, that have been known to unalive certain animals that are domesticated pets, and even adults have been known to go missing, where there have been legends of so-called water babies. Okay, and the water baby legend is quite prominent throughout all of North America.
yeah. I'm trying to think of some more good ones. Tommy knockers. Tommy knockers can either be good or bad. I mean, they can warn you about something, or they can lead you into something. I mean, Tommy knockers are kind of both ways. But probably one of the most common ones you're going to see out here is probably your pixies. Pixies are pretty common, especially around here in the Ozarks. I'm not sure about the Appalachians, or any of the other ones like that, but I know here in the Ozarks, pixies, very common one. You'll mistake them for a firefly most of the time. I mean, that's a really good common one. My brain is still trying to wake up, but yeah, these things are now. So a lot of this stuff, like a brownie. A brownie's another one. A brownie, if you keep your home somewhat clean and you treat your animals good, a brownie will come in the middle of the night while you're asleep and help keep your house clean. And they'll befriend your animals. So I mean, you got an instance right there of one that's going what you was talking about. I mean, a brownie is a prime example. Now, a lot of people will tell you that in Harry Potter, the house elves are believed how they came up with that was from the brownies. Possibly, I don't know. I'm not the author, so I can't tell you. But it fits with a very good description of what a brownie is. I mean, they do house chores, but the difference is if you don't treat your animals right, they'll tear your house up.
Yeah. Hey, while I see I've got girl with a gong and Scott in the chat, they are two of the winners from the one podcast for the patches and stuff and the stickers, the alien patches. I need to get your mailing addresses. So I'm going to put my email in the chat. If you can email me your mailing address, I can stick them in envelopes and get those mailed out to you guys as soon as possible. Okay. So let me put my email in the chat while you go ahead and continue what you were talking about, Eric.
No worries. But I mean, this is a very common subject amongst these little people. Is they're either going to hurt you or they're going to help you, and it boils down like what William said a little bit ago. It's all about treating them with respect. Now, in some instances, I'm sorry, but no matter how you treat them, some of them are just plain mean, and all they want to do is cause pain and havoc, and they'll do it. I mean, there's plenty of them that's that way. So it's one of those, you just need to learn what you got in the area, and once you learn what you got in the area, you're going to know how to handle that situation. So,
Okay, my email's in the chat for Scott and Girl with a Gong to give me their mailing address for those patches. And then we've got Paranormal Oz I'm still trying to get a hold of, and I believe he's out of Australia. So if anybody knows Paranormal Oz, ask him to email me if you could, please. His mailing address.
all right. So, but these things, I'm trying to remember. I mean, these things go back as far as we do, if I remember correctly, if not further. I can't remember the specifics of it right now, but I mean, stories of, the Menahui. We were talking about that earlier in the chat. I mean, that's another one. That's over in Hawaii.
Yeah, in Hawaii. Yeah.
They're known as some of the best masons on the planet. They can build just about anything. Another great mason, dwarves. I mean, look what dwarves can do. Not only can they build stuff, but some of the best blacksmiths around. Before we have Dominion. These things I'm a believer in them. I've seen too much stuff in my travels around this world to not believe that they're there. I mean, I've seen stuff out here on my own property when I was a kid that would suggest that. Oh, never mind. Wrong animal. You need to behave. You're being a butt.
If you all haven't noticed, Eric has a certain menagerie of animals around him all the time. So
right now I've got 2 cats and 2 dogs. And I've got a couple out there that's being a pain in the butt. I got to get up in the morning. One of the first things I do is I feed the dogs. When Jessica's here, I just feed the dogs. When she's gone, I got to feed the dogs and the cats. It's quite interesting. So, and Boar is in his terrible 2 stage for not even being a year old yet, and he has been one hell of a handful here lately.
Oh boy!
I swear, somewhere in your bloodline is pit bull. The way you act sometimes, you are stubborn. You know that? Yeah, I'm talking to you. Stubborn.
Yeah,
he's at his normal place, right at my feet. I seen what I thought was a porcupine at the first, but walked into a tree and disappeared. Puckwuggy. Yeah, that's kind of what I was talking about earlier, Twisted, with that fox. You know, I was out just kind of strolling in my woods, and I look across the other valley, and I see this fox dart, and then it goes behind a tree and disappears.
Now, are they disappearing, or are they doing some kind of mind trick to you, making them look like they disappeared or turned into something else? You know, because we've often talked about the woo factor with cryptids and stuff, you know, and you think you see Bigfoot standing, 100 feet away from you. And the next thing you know, you see a coyote or a fox walking out into the path that you're walking on, So, I mean, is it a play of mind tricks or are they literally just disappearing? That's the question.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're right. Like when I wrote Saga Grimson Book 2, Black Death, and we're dealing with dark druids and a very powerful female dark druid that they called Mother Maggie. She took the blood of a Dwayne to help increase her magic, and that's something else too. I mean, these witches. Mainly dark ones have known to even do that. They'll capture a fae and take their blood to increase their magic. And that tells you how much magical power these things
have. And true witchcraft, dark magic, uses the the bone dust of animals and of
Mhm.
people too that are deceased, for their magic. Um, you know,
Mhm.
uh, it's used so much that it's almost a regular thing where if you see people hanging out in cemeteries late at night, they're up to no good. Um, that's why a lot of the cemeteries and graveyards quit allowing paranormal teams to go in and do ghost hunts. They pretty much banned it, um, basically because of the grave robbing going on. It's really prominent in the Orleans area, down in Louisiana, and Mississippi, that area of the United States. It's real prominent. Um, Another place where you'll find it happen a lot is where you have a lot of, and I can say this word, trust me, I'm perfectly safe with saying this word, when you see the skinwalkers appear, you will find that graveyards and stuff, or burial tombs are basically decimated, because a lot of the dark medicine people use the dust of bones and stuff and animals in ceremony too. So, in fact, I was taught to take the dust and blow it in people's eyes, and I could hex and do whatever I want to them and make them basically, incapacitated for an undetermined amount of time until I woke them up, and I wasn't around. So, there's so many things and adaptations that can be done, with, through ceremony. And those
Mhm.
of you that don't believe in the skinwalker, um, you know, being able to happen, I'm sure Juno is being in the chat can attest that the skinwalkers are a certain ability that dark medicine men are capable of manipulating. Okay. I myself have participated in it. So, I can honestly say it's, just as much as it's psychological, it is physical too. So,
Oops, there it goes. Twisted asked, "What about a rake?"
I'm not so sure. I don't know if it's actually what we should be calling it. And this is just to be honest with you. There's a picture going around in social media on a lot of these cryptid sites of an alleged skinwalker, and it's like a ghoul, you know, but bent backwards and walking or trying to walk. It's a picture basically standing on all fours. And, I'm sorry, but I'm not sold that that's a skinwalker in that picture. I believe that it's a rake in that picture, or a ghoul. And here's why. When we did the ceremony, and we did the flesh offerings, and as far as a blood offering, a sacrifice during the ceremony, um, when we invoked the animal deity to enter us, the demonic animal deity to enter us, um, you are literally not there anymore. You are literally, it's like being on the biggest hit of acid you've ever been on. You won't remember anything until you learn and you are taught to use your spiritual strength to control that entity that is within you. Okay. And when you have that control, is when you can make a physical change into what people call a skinwalker. Okay. And as long as the animal that you choose is of equal or larger in size to your body, okay, that's the key for the best transfer of energy and transformation to occur. If you go for something smaller, it's going to be more difficult. Okay. And it's going to be more of a a psychological and basically a possession type of a thing. Okay. To where you're going to think that you're changed into that animal and you're really physically not. Okay. So it's, it is to me a rake. See that term, I don't think that term started coming around until the 1980s or something like that. So I just don't believe that the rake is a legitimate thing to call it. Okay.
No.
The term ghoul and, you know, and those type of beings have been around a lot longer. So I think a lot of what our problem is today in our research and stuff and our having all these thousands and thousands of people investigating and reporting all these things through social media, I think we mislabel things. You know, I think a big problem that we have is not only is it discerning that it's either flesh and bone or it's supernatural in nature, but I think also that we have a hard time discerning and assigning certain names. You know, it's like we've got to have a name for everything. Why? Why do we need a name for everything? You know, and
Mhm.
to me, you know what a rake is? A rake is a freaking garden utensil. You know, I mean that's and that's the truth. That's the truth. You know, to me, that's what it is. But you know, maybe it's because of somebody else's upbringing. Maybe it's because somebody's from another culture and they label it something else. But to me, it's making our field a lot more of a struggle to identify cryptid creatures if we have everybody misnaming them. If you know what I mean, I'm not saying it to offend anybody. I'm saying it because, you know, coming from the Native American standpoint, you know, why does everything have to have a name? You know, we have trickster spirits. We have Iktomi the spider. We have coyote. You know, we have all kinds of trickster spirits out there. Um, and in fact, even Bigfoot can be a trickster spirit. You know, because trickster spirits are supernatural entities that all they do is want to cause chaos. They want to cause they don't want to cause harm, but they want to cause enough chaos to ruin people's lives. Okay, that's what a trickster does. Okay, and I think, you know, when we realize that we have these supernatural beings, and then we have these flesh and blood type cryptids and beings, as soon as we discern the difference, you know, we're more adapt to accept it, you know, on either category. Okay, and that's the big problem with today's cryptid field and even the paranormal field. I mean, think about everybody. You know, you got some people that walk into an abandoned building and say that's demonic and that's demonic and that's demonic and this is demonic, and you know, or you have the old axe murder thing, you know, where, oh yeah, this farmer came home and caught his wife in bed with another man and he took an axe and he murdered them and chopped their bodies up and spread them throughout the whole property, which is, you know, 120 acres, and that's why there's a low-lying fog. Well, you know what? Where's the proof? What you have
Mhm.
is a legend. Hey, Hobbit, good to see you, man. Good to see you. What you have is a legend, an active legend, okay? And but one type of a legend that the more you speak it, it's like I've always said, the more you speak it, what happens? The more it comes true. Okay? A good example, Siren Head. That's a good example. I don't know if anybody out there knows about Siren Head. Okay. Or how about this? How about Slender Man? Okay. The more you speak it, the more you have as a human being, as humanity has, inside you, the more you speak it, the more it becomes solid, the more it becomes significant, and the more it becomes part of your life. Okay. So we have to, that's right, Deidre. Very, yeah, that's very good. The, oh, you never, Twisted, you never heard of Siren Head? Oh, God. Oh, man. It's bizarre. I'll tell you right now. It's just bizarre. Um, but yeah, the, we have to understand that words have power. And that's the one thing that I took away from all the black magic that I did as a Native American spiritual man. Okay, when I did ceremonies to do harm to whether it was people or whether it was property or whether it was humanity as a whole, you know I had to speak the words in a way that they would come true, and I had to think in my mind, in my third eye, my mind's eye, that I'd had to visually see it happening. That's how it's manifested. Okay. There's elders out there and medicine men out there like myself that will tell you that when you do some certain ceremonies and you ask for blessings, a lot of it may not be used in verbal commands, verbal, spell casting. Okay. Some of it, like asking for rain. I've said this, before dozens of times on the podcast, that when you're in the middle of a drought and you ask, well, say you ask a Navajo medicine man to do a rain blessing, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to take off their shoes and they're going to walk out into the middle of the field or wherever the opening over the ground, and they're not going to say a word. They're going to stand there. They're going to curl their toes up into the earth. Okay. They're going to feel and visually see the earth between their toes turning to mud because it's raining. And they're going to feel that mud between their toes. And, you're going to get rain, and a day or two later, it will rain. Now, we don't have the ability to control the volume of rain. That's the bad thing. Okay. When you do these prayers, especially these silent prayers, when you manifest the rain, um, spiritually, supernaturally, we might as well say, um, you're not like visualizing, oh, we want an inch of rain and that's it. You're just visualizing the clouds opening up and raining. Okay. So that's why we can't control the amount. And to be honest with you, that's probably the only bad thing about it. To me, there is an excessive amount of rain. But if it doesn't jeopardize, homes and livestock and people, then I'm perfectly fine with it raining for days on end. So because with when it rains, it washes Mother Earth clean. So takes all the the impurities out of her. So I wanted to let everybody know that.
You also got to put two other aspects into this with this false identification stuff. You have to keep in mind there's people make stuff up so they can get clickbait to get followers and make a lot of money. I mean, that is a very common thing on this misidentification, which really hurts us in this field of study. Number two is demons will take shape as something that causes you fear so that they can feed off your fear.
Mm-hmm.
Something else you got to consider when it comes to that.
Yep.
Ida wants to know, is there a way to...
Yeah, go ahead.
Ida wants to know, is there a way to protect your mind from attacks?
Your mind from attacks? Well, if you are into the spiritual aspect of learning, there is a way that you can put a block up, a mental block up. Okay. But you have to be able to manifest. You have to be able to take that, your energy, your chi, I don't know how many people have watched long enough to where they saw that when you work your energy with your hands, you can feel the heat, and your energy is like a ball in your hand, and you keep on doing. Oh man, my coffee pot just moved. That's funny. I got a Mr. Coffee maker here that does 10, 12 cups at a time, and it just literally picked up and moved a little bit. That was weird. As soon as I started doing the energy thing, um, but I really should do a video on teaching people how to use their energy. Yeah, see, Roxanne does chi work. She knows. You have a way of manipulating your energy, your field around you. We all have an energetic field around us, okay? And those of us that use it daily on a daily basis, we can train ourselves and our energy field to basically put up like a brick wall to where nothing can harm us. Okay. And literally, I mean, nothing can harm you. And in fact, that's why I do ceremonies to protect people from certain deities, certain entities, okay, supernatural wise. So, and, but yeah, I'm gonna have to do a video on that.
Yeah, William was literally sitting over there looking at his coffee pot, go, "Get over here!"
Yeah.
It picked up, started.
It's empty. It's empty. Damn it! Fill up.
Refill yourself.
Uh,
Oh,
oh, I need coffee. Damn it! Actually, I do.
Hey,
I only have half a cup.
but yeah, no, I mean, we have to consider a lot of that stuff into this. I mean, people want to make a name for themselves and make a money off of the unknowing. They don't care about the consequences. They don't care about anything. They don't care how many people get hurt. They don't care about any of that. All they care about is, hey, I've got a great name for this thing here, and they'll blast it out there, get clickbait, and build up a bunch of stuff, and you're hurting more people than you're helping just for trying to make a quick buck.
Well, here's something too, though. If you want to try it as a test to everybody, we have 40 some people in the chat right now. Okay, and if all 40 some of those people thought about the same thing for at least an hour a day over a 7-day period, and whether it was imagined a purple polka dotted people eater, you know what I mean? Something really bizarre, a pink elephant with purple polka dots, if those 40 some people thought about that for at least an hour a day, okay, they would probably unknowingly manifest some kind of an appearance to happen, whether it's with them directly or whether it's with somewhere in the world where somebody will report seeing a one-eyed, four-armed purple dot, people eater, I mean, it's just, it's the way the manifestation works, and the more you have doing it, yeah, Griff, feed me. Feed
Yeah,
me.
I was gonna do it for him.
Yeah.
I was gonna feed me. Coffee now. Don't forget sugar cream this time.
But yeah, it's just there's ways of doing. Hello, Angelique. There's ways of manifesting things, and Angelique can tell you too. That it's just something we do. Indigenous people around the world have been manifesting things for thousands of years. Even it doesn't even have to be indigenous people. It could be alchemists. It could be the so-called wizards of the age of the knights. They did manifestation too. Merlin did manifestation. So I mean, manifestation is a thing. So, and if you think of something enough, long enough, and repeat it enough, and then you get others thinking about it and visualizing it, it
Ouch.
will eventually manifest itself. So now watch, everybody's going to start thinking about a one-eyed, four-armed, purple polka dot people eater, and it's going to manifest itself in the sky. Watch.
Oh man, yeah, it's just stuff we have to be careful on. I mean, I get it. People are coming on here to learn stuff, but
Yeah.
you have to be really careful. You have to be really careful. I decide spins and when I do Reiki, Paranic
She does
healing,
Reiki.
and yeah. Oh
Yep.
yeah.
A lot of people don't understand that, they have this innate ability within them to manipulate their energy field. Okay. And that's one of the first things I was taught by my elder, my parent, doing the dark magic too, was the more that I could manipulate my energy field, the more powerful I got. Okay. And to the point where I was sitting in 7th grade in junior high, and I was, having people go to the chalkboard. Yes, in them days we had chalkboards, people, not the, whiteboards. But
I hated getting in trouble and having to beat out the racers.
yeah. Oh God, I remember them days. But I would literally look at the person's behind their head at their cranium as I was sitting in class, and I would think of the answer for them to write on the chalkboard, and I would implant that image in their mind, and it wouldn't be the right answer. It would be some outrageous answer that they would get on the chalkboard, and those people would actually write that answer. Okay. That is a classic example of mind control, manipulation, manifestation. Okay. And when you have that kind of power, and it is power, okay, when you can manipulate somebody's thoughts and somebody's reactions to things, that is power. Okay. That's not ultimate power, because only the creator has ultimate power. Okay. But that is manipulating other people's free will. Okay. And as soon as I did that, I realized that it was wrong to do it. But I knew I had the ability to do it because of my upbringing. So, but when people see things like take the ghoul, for example, and they name it a rake, um, or they I don't know how to describe it. When you name something, you're making something. Okay, you're giving something significant power. Okay, um, that's why when we're born, our parents, our guardians, okay, when they name us, they give us certain names. Okay, when they name us, they're giving us that power. Okay, that name. Okay, it's the same principle when it comes to naming cryptids. Okay, I think right now we have a major problem with misidentification. I really do. Um, they say that there's um, dog man. They say that there's werewolves. They say that there's um, Rougarou, and others, and to me, honestly, if you don't have the ability to change physically from a werewolf to a human, then you're not a werewolf. Okay, if you're if you're changing from an upright standing 6 foot 7 foot tall dog to a human, you're not a dog man. You see what I'm saying? I think a lot of it is misidentification. There was something going around too about labeling the dog man, and there was this picture with I think it had 6 or 8 different types of dog man, and it had the hyena type, it had the the shepherd looking type, and it had a Bigfoot looking type, a Gugway looking type. And for the longest time, I was talking to a lot of the Dogman researchers, Shane, one of them, and Ryan, and all of us. I think a lot of that was misidentification. I don't think there's so many different types. I do believe there is a hyena type, okay, because it has been reported, and I do believe there is a dog like a wolf looking type, okay, which has been reported. But other than those two types, I don't really. I think it's more of a when you're out in the woods alone, okay, and you hear that branch break, or you hear a certain sound that you can't figure out. I think with some people, not all people, with some people, I think that heightened energy level spikes that fear, where that tingle goes down the spine, and I think that imagination can take over. Okay, when you start seeing and taking pictures of shadows and saying it's a dog man, or shaded parts of trees saying there's a dog man in there, to me, I'm sorry, but that's misidentification. Okay, if the dog man isn't standing directly in front of you like a lot of these Bigfoot sightings are, then I think it's misidentification. I think it's just fear working into the whole factor too. So,
Another
and that's
key
just
right there.
that's just coming from an investigator standpoint and somebody that's grown up, in that type of an environment. Okay, so I mean, and I don't want to offend anybody, because everybody, I'm not saying everybody's misidentifying it. I'm just saying that sometimes we put labels on things, and when we put labels on things, we give things power. I don't know if that makes sense to everybody, but that's just, my theory on it.
Yeah. Well, and Twisted had a question here. Isn't Dogman a new term? Yeah, it came out, what was it, 1980, 1986, somewhere around in there is where the term Dogman came from. That's why I posed that theory. Because what we be calling Dogman actually a natural werewolf, where when we talk about the Rougarou or the SW or something like that, it's a magically created werewolf. That's why I posed that question and that theory on my show. Because Dogman is a new term, and we know that things have been around for a very long time. So, to me, it would be a natural born, which is the ones with a tail, what we call Dogman, and then the magically created ones, the ones without a tail, that we seem to come across.
And we all know the ancient history connection with Anubis, being the headed dog and in charge of the underworld, so there is a historical connection to, but we don't know if Anubis was in that form all the time or if he changed back to a human form. That's the one thing that picture doesn't show us. Think about it. It's not a movie, it's a still drawing. Okay, so was it a drawing of a spiritual human medicine person making a transformation into that Anubis form? Okay, or was it actually in that form all the time? We don't know. Anubis very well could have been able to transform into human form most of the time, and then when he had to do his thing in the underworld, change into Anubis. You know what I mean? If you take
look at the story of all the ancient old.
Look at the story in the Bible. Look at the story in the Bible, though, of Moses with the staff, and having it turn into a snake. It's the same principle. Is it a staff or is it a snake? Well, is Anubis 100% of the time, or is Anubis only Anubis when he's needed in the underworld? We don't know that because it's just a picture on a wall. It's not undeniable proof. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and that's just my
look at
guys.
look at all the old gods. You listen to the stories of the old gods; they were able to transform into different things, especially when they came down to blah blah blah, to mate with humans. So if all these other ones can do it, Anubis and them other Egyptian gods would have to be put into that concept.
Exactly.
I want to say
Exactly. And
some of
it's like,
good.
yeah, it's like getting reports of cat people. I get reports of cat people quite a bit too. Especially from truck drivers. And it's like there's this thing going around about how what are they called, the Lorari, oh god, I can't remember the name of them, but anyways, it's an alien type of a being that's come here, and basically they are supposed to be good aliens, but they live among us also. I just don't, I don't know if it's people being exhausted. I don't know if it's people that have an innate amount of fear of being alone in the dark, driving down a dark, secluded road. Yeah, Illyrians. Yeah. Um, it, but to me, I haven't seen any. Okay. And I don't really want to start thinking about it too much, because if I think it, what happens? I'm going to eventually manifest it in being seen. You see what I'm saying? I think that there's a mystique about humanity that we're missing. Okay. And I know that there's a lot of us out there that are very powerful, that we can do things. Okay. Um, if God wills it, and the creator wills it, we can do things. Okay. But a lot of people don't understand the power that they do have within them. And when they take and they say that they describe something, and it's on their mind quite a bit, the abilities of multiplying that to the point where it's manifested and becomes an actual being is limitless. It really is limitless. So, and that's just my opinion. I mean, that and $1 may get you a cup of coffee, which I doubt anymore. But, and speaking
No,
of
they always
coffee,
say watch what you say. They always say
Yeah.
watch what you say, because hey, freaky, words are spell casting. So what you speak can come true. So you always have to watch out that.
Exactly.
Or could it be a Burjo that shapeshifts? Possibly.
I think they mean Bruja.
Oh yeah. Like an Anunnaki carvings, one with human head and the one with bird head, but they have the same body. It's like being same person. Yeah, I mean, the stories of them being able to do that stuff goes way back.
Exactly. And that's my point too. Is who's to say that they had to take that form all the time? Maybe they just had to do it when they were supposedly the god of the underworld, or the the god of the sky, or the god of thunder. Maybe they just assumed that role, and assumed a regular role in humanity, while not assuming the godly role. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, Odin. Odin was known to coming down to Midgard because he was also known as the Wanderer. He would come down to Midgard as an old man, feeble old man, in a long cloak and staff and a long, big brimmed hat. I mean, Zeus came down as Swan, transformed himself into other humans so that he can mate with these females. The list goes on and on of all these different gods that used to do this type of stuff.
Exactly.
There's the good wolf and the bad wolf. The question is, which one will you choose? Yeah, there's that nine-tailed fox in was that Chinese or Japanese? I believe it's Japanese culture
Japanese.
that
Yeah, it's Japanese.
transformed from human to a nine-tailed fox. I mean, the list is endless. Daryl Stanley, you spelled some names the same. Yeah. Men of renowned men of old. Yeah. Not what you choose, who do you feed the most. It's like the old Native American, proverb. You have a white wolf and a black wolf within you. Which one do you feed? The white wolf is good. The black wolf is bad. You can't starve either one of them out. You have to feed them both, but which one do you feed more than the other? This is just, all this stuff is steeped in our history. We have to consider so many possibilities. But at the same time, you get, like we were saying earlier, you get these new age people that want to make a name for themselves and make an easy money off of somebody that's not very knowledgeable, and they'll create new stuff out of old stuff.
And I do believe too that we've got others coming into the communities and stuff, and to the groups that are literally basically causing more chaos than they are good. Especially with the onset and onslaught of AI. I can't, it's like Daniel and David and Melissa and I talked about the other night, on his radio podcast for ECBR Radio. There's so much disinformation that people are joining the groups, whether it's to make fun of people that believe in this stuff or are researching this stuff, or they just like causing problems. Okay. To me, they're the real trolls. They are. They're the real trolls. Yeah. And as long as they are in these groups and post these phony pictures that are generated by AI, or phony videos that are, CG, it's not going to stop. It's just going to continue to get worse. So we have to be so much more stricter with the way we research things and the way we investigate things, because of the onslaught of all this false information that's being fed to groups. Okay. And to me, that's the biggest problem right now in these fields, whether it's paranormal, supernatural, or cryptid. Every one of the fields has problems because of this type of activity.
Yeah. Gosh, man, that's something we've talked about many times, because people don't consider that, and Griff made up a very good point here. Too many self-appointed experts. And yes, we're dealing with that type of stuff. We're dealing with people that's not only doing that, but they're coming in and doing these shows to discredit. So they're going to put out false information to lead people astray, to get them off a path of what is what. I think it's important to know the truth about these things, because some of these things are very dangerous.
Exactly. And if anyone knows me, they know that when I talk about stuff, I just say that it's my opinion, it's my encounters, it's my belief. It's strictly on me for the way I feel and investigate and research things. Okay. And the results that I get. It doesn't mean that I'm a professional. It means that I am somebody that encounters these things and has encountered these things his entire life. That's all that it means. It doesn't mean that I'm as more professional than the next guy, because I'm not. Okay. I'm me. I know what I can do, and I know what I've been through. Okay. And I know what I've encountered. So, but that does not make me a professional. So, and, there is no professional in any one of these fields. I don't give a rat's ass who you are. I don't give a damn if you're a Zach Bagans, if you're God, I don't even know the rest of them. The guys from Ghost Hunters. Or I don't even give a damn if you call yourself a Jeff Meldrum, and I think the world of Jeff Meldrum. But you know what? There are no experts. None. This is all
We're all
just
students.
theory.
We're all
It's all
students.
theory.
We're all learning.
Exactly.
I mean, we have to consider that. People don't want to because you get more clickbait if you say you're an expert than you do if you say you're a student. I'm not afraid to say I'm a student. I'm constantly learning.
Oh,
You know,
freaky. Zach
is this
Bagans is from Ghost Adventurers.
oh, that's where that name sound. Oh God. Yeah, okay, never mind. I'm gonna shut up. Never mind. Yeah. I mean, nope, I'm not going there. But yeah, I mean that's the thing is all these people want to claim this stuff. Sorry, guys. I got something lodged in my throat.
It's called an Adam's
Now,
apple.
yeah, I'm getting some phlegm buildup for a reason. I don't know if it's because of all the salt and the snow and everything else I've been breathing in for a week.
It is that time of the year.
But I stopped watching all the TV shows. They catch something every episode and it makes me. Yeah, the only one I ever really liked before it came off the air was Ghost Hunters because if they legitimately came out and said you guys are faking this and we're done and they quit the investigation and leave and start up a new one. Hey, Paranormal Oz. Oh, hey, Paranormal Oz is here. He one you need an email from.
Yes, I need to get a mailing address for you, Paranormal Oz, brother. If you would, please, so I can mail you that patch and some stickers.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking that's who you said earlier. I wanted to make sure I was right.
Yep. He's one of them.
Well, it's like that old Asian proverb, Scott. You know, a glass full will not retain water, but a glass half empty will.
Yeah. Daryl says,
So,
I know a little about a lot.
I mean, seriously, I'm always going to tell you, I'm a student. I'm always saying that. I'm always learning. I may have what I feel is correct from my research and my experiences, but there's always stuff that's brought to the table that makes me either rethink what I know or consider what I know. So always
All
do,
right,
but I
you,
need never did. I just don't need word. I need something. You need to show me something to make me in order to change my mind. Otherwise, I'm not going to do it.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's and it's what makes the fields a lot harder than it needs to be, And I'm sure Paranormal Oz, I mean, where he's located, he probably comes across the same stuff. Just like I said earlier, with going into a so-called haunted location and instantly everybody labeling some kind of activity demonic, and it's just a misrepresentation of what's actually occurring or what's actually happening at the time. And I don't know if it's just easier for people to mass label things, or you know what I mean. I could never understand why it's done that way. To me, I even hate the term ghost. I just, to me, it's spirit, it's, I don't know. It's just me that I guess I feel that way. Sometimes I think naming something is doing more harm than it is good, because you're giving something a label. And you're giving that something a label, and you're giving that something power because you're giving it a label. Okay. That's like somebody saying, I've seen the Grim Reaper, and they think about the Grim Reaper all the time. And, eventually that Grim Reaper is going to be manifested, because we as humanity, as human beings, have this deep inside us almost supernatural, magical type of way of manifesting things when we really firmly believe that we see what we see, or we interact with what we interact with, and eventually it's going to happen if we think about it enough, and we try to rationalize it enough. You know what I mean? It's giving that thing power. um Perfect example. Perfect example. And I'm glad, this, I said this on a previous podcast too, when we had haunted objects. Okay. When you name a doll that is supposedly haunted and you give it a name, okay, not even Raggedy Ann or Andy, but, say you call it Laquita, or, Vernon, or, as long as you give it a title, a name, you're giving that doll power, and you're giving that power to the doll to manipulate things, to be possessed by something, because you're giving it a name, and you're giving it so much significant energy out of your own self by giving it a name and thinking about it, and what it's capable of doing, that you're giving it that power to do it. You know, a divot box is a good example of that. Okay, the whole purpose of a divot box is to have a protective um, deity inside the box, that when it's opened, that deity is released out of the box and will basically harm and harass people until those people get it back into the box and bury that box deep within the earth, or bind it in some way. you know it's 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 something that we just, as human beings, we don't realize we have that innate ability. We really don't.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as we realize that, and that our words, when we name things like the car Christine, there's another perfect example. You give it a name, it's gonna manifest some kind of ability. Okay, it's gonna manifest some kind of way of interacting, probably adversely to humans, and humanity. So, to me, it's just the way I think of things. And when you think about the Fae and stuff around water and stuff, and in granite boulders, and all the people missing, maybe us thinking about that scenario happening so much is giving that scenario power to happen. You know what I mean? It's
Yep.
kind of like the theory of a water spout, a downspout on a house. When it rains, the water's going to go through the gutter and down the downspout and out the curve and onto the ground. If you divert that, or you block it in some way, it's just going to overflow. So by blocking it, say you give it a name and you block it, okay, and that water's still going to seek the least resistance. It's going to overflow the gutter, okay. It's going to leak out the crevices and the little gaps in the aluminum, or whatever it is, the plastic or whatever, and it's going to cause more harm to your house than it's than letting it just drain out into the ground, if you know what I mean. That water is going to seek into the wood of the house, into the foundation of the house. It's going to ruin your house over time. The same principle when we name things. We're damming that dam up, and we're labeling things, and we're giving those things power, plain and simple. And we need to really back away from that. I really do believe that. That's why we have so much paranormal activity too. That, and the fact, that's why the veil is thin, if not ripped to shreds by now. So I don't know. It is just
I
my
just
theory.
I just got a question. Is there a difference between a soul and a spirit?
Yes, there is a difference. That's a very good question. Um, your soul and your spirit are in your body. Okay. Now the best way to describe this is when you have residual energy. Okay, your spirit is going to be attracted to the areas that are either more tragic during your life that you've experienced, or more of the euphoria, the happiness in your life during your experience, and your spirit's going to assume that repetitive role of interacting with that environment, just like it's called residual energy. Okay. When you're doing an investigation, a paranormal investigation, you come across residual energy, that is because the person's spirit or the animal's spirit is continually reenacting over and over again because it felt more comfortable or more significant at that point in time in that location. Okay. Whereas your soul goes to the creator. Your soul goes to the heavenly father. It goes to one of the heavens above us. Okay. And I say heavens because it says that in the Bible. It doesn't specifically say one heaven. The creator God is in the highest level of heavens plural. And that's where his throne is. Okay. And you have other levels. In fact, the veil that you guys call the veil, I call it the shadow realm. You also call it purgatory. Okay. That veil is here. We're here. We're on the bottom on earth. The veil is here. Then you have the first heaven. Then you have the second heaven. Then you have the third heaven. Then you have the fourth heaven. Then you have the fifth heaven. And you have the sixth heaven. And then you have the seventh heaven. Okay. And the seventh heaven is where the creator God's, the Father, throne is. And nobody except for his angels that he has around him and the archangel Metatron, who presides next to him, who is the left hand of God, basically, who records everything that humanity does in life. Okay, that's the significance. Okay, of that's the difference between spirit and soul. Okay, our spirit, it's like Native people always said, you could break me, but you'll never take my spirit. Okay, our spirit, when we leave this body, our soul goes on with our ancestors to you can call it the happy hunting grounds, you can call it heaven, you can call it whatever you want. Okay, um, but basically our soul goes with our ancestors and our family members into the heavens. Okay, but our spirit stays and interacts with the environment that we were used to, that we enjoyed being a part of, or that we were tragically connected to. So that's the difference.
I just got a question. I'm not sure how to say that name.
Oh, that's Gaia.
Spirit. That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure I was like, I think I may be wrong.
Spirit is, yeah, I guess you could say it's Gaia based. Spirit is, wow. Honestly, I think my interpretation of spirit would be more like the free will that God gave us. It would be more likened into that. Okay, because spirit is going to go free will wise to where it wants to where it can interact with the environment or with a certain location, whether it's tragic or a happy time. Okay, that's called free will. That was given to us by the creator, by God. Okay, and to me, that's the difference. Our soul is our soul. See, everybody says, oh, you sell your soul to the devil. No, you can't sell your soul to the devil, because you know why? The creator owns your soul. Think about it. The creator put your soul within you when he created you. Okay. He breathed that life into you. Okay. And your soul is his. Okay. And your soul is going to basically, you know, praise the creator for all of his wondrous works. Okay. Whereas your spirit can be sold. Think about it. Okay. Because it's free will. Okay. So free will of your spirit, you can sell that to the devil. Okay. And I think that's the difference between what's happening today. And I think a lot of people just misinterpret what's going on spiritually. And that's why we have all this, chaos, you know.
Yeah.
And again, that's just my beliefs, my theory. Okay. So it doesn't make me, it doesn't make me the professional, the more educated in spirituality than others, because I'm me. Okay. And this is what I was taught. Okay. This is what I was taught growing up. And this is what I interpreted from studying all the religions around the world, that you have your spirit and then you have your soul. And the only thing you can sell to the devil is your spirit, because that is manifested through free will. Okay. You can't sell something that you don't own. God owns your soul. So
So your spirit's kind of like the energy, and
exactly.
so I mean it's tied to Mother Earth. So when your flesh decomposes, your spirit, your energy stays with Mother Earth, where your soul goes up to heaven.
Exactly. And again, that's my own interpretation and from my own research over what, 60 years now. Okay. So, and doing what I did when I was, into the arts and stuff, and being a what they call a Wachashawakan, a holy man, with my people. And it's just my own learning experience, and seeing things and interacting with spirit. Okay. And interacting with other beings and entities my whole life, and I've been able to discern the difference. And I didn't
Mm.
start talking about this type of stuff until probably about a year ago. I kept it to myself, and then I started seeing what was transpiring every day to people. And people hanging out at cemeteries for hours on end, thinking that their relatives soul and spirit is there all the time. No. Just because we leave this body, this disease susceptible body, that we don't want to live in forever anyways, it's not designed that way. It's designed for us to experience things, okay, in this world. Okay. That's why we're in this body, this avatar, as you call it. Okay. um to experience things, to mature, so we're ready for that next level of life. Okay. That's the whole purpose of it. It's to teach us, how to interact with one another, and how to be civil, how to be non-combatant, how to be unconditionally loved. That's the whole purpose of this body. Okay. And the whole purpose of us having a spirit and a soul. Okay. The creator wants us to expand upon our knowledge, but at the same time we expand upon our knowledge, we're not meant to harm one another. We're meant to work with one another and get along with one another. Okay. And until we can grasp that as a whole, as humanity as a whole, whether you live in Africa, whether you live in Russia, whether you live in China, okay, whether you live in Denmark, whether you live in Greenland, Canada, US, Brazil, you know, Iran, okay, Jerusalem, okay, we are meant to interact in this body in an unconditional love type of a way, irregardless of our religious beliefs being separate, irregardless of our color skin being different. We are meant to have those differences set in front of us so we can work our way through it and humanity can come together and be one. Okay? One in spirit and one in soul. Souls go to the heaven and the spirit stays with Gaia, okay, with Mother Earth into the areas because of free will. Okay. And that's my own interpretation. And like I said, I'm not a clergyman. Well, I am, but I'm not a priest. I'm not an archbishop. I'm not a pope. I'm not I'm just an old medicine guy, that does ceremony for his people and for himself, that does blessings for people and for their homes, that does marriages for people, that protects people. Okay. And when you realize that part, that sanctity of life, that gives you more power through unconditional love, which is exactly what Jesus Christ was teaching, by the way. Okay. He wasn't teaching that it was, one way and one way only. He was teaching unconditional love. He was teaching acceptance. Okay. He was teaching respect. Okay. He was teaching being humble, which is a big Native American trait. Okay. We teach that to our young, being humble. Okay. And he was teaching people to be respectful. Okay. Whether you're into the witchcraft, whether you're pagan, whether you're Jewish, whether you're Greek Orthodox, whether you're Baptist, whether you're Pentecostal, it doesn't matter. Catholic, it doesn't matter. As long as you are able to accept your brother and your sister, irregardless of their skin color, irregardless of their religious beliefs, unconditionally accept them, then you're ready for that next stage of life. That's just my thoughts. So,
Heck yeah. I mean, ouch. It's hard to say, but I don't know. I mean, for me, I've always had a feeling that, our energy that we collect from Mother Earth is always going to reside here where we go above. So that's why when you was talking about that, I was like, okay, so the soul is the part of God. We are all built with a part of God within inside of us, and that would be the
exactly.
soul. Or your
Exactly.
spirit, which is made of energy, remains here or goes somewhere else.
Exactly. And it's all because of free will.
Yep.
Hey, Dario.
Yep. Good morning, Dario. But what mouth?
Meow. Meow.
Yeah. My gosh, so needy.
I'm trying to talk. You're being rude.
Daryl says he's putting on the feed bag.
It's I've got one outside my window. It's like, hello, Aurora. I'll be out there in a minute. You don't want in there. You're going to be cold and wet. My daughter has a very bad problem of leaving my wheelbarrow up instead of tipped over. So it gets filled with rain and stuff constantly because I'm like, dude, you're destroying my wheelbarrow. Aurora's decided, hey, I want to hop up on this, and there's freaking water and stuff in it. Footsteps on the beach, yeah, Roxanne. But no, I mean, so they're always going around, and that's why I tell people all the time. I was like, you don't understand. People's like, oh, don't do this and this in your home because you're going to invite that stuff here. How can I invite something that's already here? We're surrounded by these spirits everywhere we go. We're always surrounded by these things. And
Yep.
People
Exactly.
don't understand that. So I mean, that kind of makes sense when you say the spirit
This,
remain or the energy remains.
yeah. Well, if you think about it, it's like if you've ever gone to a person that is psychic, and they burn the candle with the sweet grass in it, or the sage, and they interact with spirit. You'll sometimes, when you're with people like that, you'll feel the room get crowded. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
like there's a mass of people standing around you, and
Mm-hmm.
those are the spirits of your ancestors. Those are your great grandmas, your great 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 grandfathers, your great 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 uncles. Their spirit coming around you to give you the love and the appreciation that spirit is always trying to obtain, because of it's like running over and over again with a recorder, residual energy, and
Well,
so it's
sorry.
it's quite it could be complex, but it's not. I think a lot of times we overthink a lot of things. So
Well, you got to think about something too. Like when Native Americans will pray for assistance, right? They're not only praying to the great creator and the good spirits, they're praying to their ancestors as well. What does that tell
right.
you? We have a connection to our ancestors.
Yep.
Most of the time when I'm dealing with paranormal in a home, it's about 9% or 9 out of 10 times it's going to be a family member that was close to them that's there. That is a
Exactly.
very common thing in someone's home.
And also
The
also
other
you
one,
got to understand, yeah, the other 90, there's 90% that's just going to be residual energy.
yeah,
you know
yeah,
that's all
that
it
happens
is
more.
residual energy, which is spirit.
Yeah, hmm and I mean that happens a lot. And people don't consider that when they're doing this type of stuff. People want we're talking about natural werewolves and magically created werewolves, and I understand a lot of people go, oh, I don't see how that could be done because it would literally destroy the body with the transformation. Okay, I agree. Science is a very big part of this, but also there's things above science that we have to consider too. And magic is magic. Magic is not science. Magic
Right.
does things outside the realm of science. We have to consider that.
Exactly. A lot of people get freaked out when they see people like David Blaine, who can levitate himself off the ground,
Hmm.
a foot or so, or even, walk out from the edge of a building 20 stories high and not fall. I mean, but there is a thing called magic, okay, and it is real, okay, and those of us that are lucky enough to experience some part of that, um, we have more of an appreciation for it. And yes, some of the magic is smoke and mirrors. Some of it
Hmm.
is mass hypnosis. A lot of it is premeditated, where say a magician's gonna meet you in public, and they're gonna hypnotize you, and you're gonna not realize you got hypnotized, and then when you're at the event watching them, they're gonna call upon you, and you're not gonna remember the reason you were hypnotized, and you're gonna do as you were hypnotized. Okay, so there's magic, and then there's um entertainment, if you
Yeah,
know what I mean. Okay, and that's the best way to describe it. Merlin
yeah.
was magic. Okay, um, David Blaine,
David
some of it
Copperfield,
maybe. Yeah,
entertainment.
David Copperfield, entertainment. Yeah, exactly. So discerning the difference in life is the hardest thing to do, because nowadays entertainment magic is very 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 realistic. So
Hmm.
and that's why, what do I always say? I always say question everything. You have to. You literally have to.
Yep. Oh yeah, I mean, and that's the very key thing, and you also it goes into what you say all the time. You got to think outside the box.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and we have to consider this stuff. Do I use science in my investigations? Absolutely, because science does have a part in this. Now, there is real science, and there's, well, I want to make a name for myself science, and that's what I believe a lot of people get confused. There's so many. I want to make a name for me science out there instead of the actual science, and science deals
Exactly.
with chemicals, physiology, and
Alchemy.
biology,
Yeah.
and stuff like this. Alchemy. Thank you. That was the term I was trying to remember. Alchemy. That is science, not what you watch on mainstream news. That's not science. Science is
I,
alchemy.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing because David's misspelled. David's comment about question everything should be on a T-shirt.
I just saw that. I better not put that up on the screen.
Oh God. Oh, that's funny. Oh, oh
Yeah.
man. I needed that. I needed that.
No
That
man.
was funny.
Heck
Oh,
yeah. But so we have to put this stuff in there. I mean, and I'm sorry. I mean, this is my personal opinion and my personal beliefs, but magic also has a role in science. It's a type of science. It's not the alchemy side of it, although alchemy does play a part in it. The main part of magic is a different kind of science. So you have to think. You can't think modern way. You can't think how you was indoctrinated to think when it comes to magic, comes to shape shifting, comes to all this stuff. There's too many stories in this world throughout our history of this stuff happening for there not to be a bit of truth into this. It is
right.
completely different. That is why if an SW transforms into a werewolf, that's not science. It's not science based as we think of it. It's magic, and that is a whole
Exactly.
nother field. That's a whole nother plane. That's a whole nother dimension. That's a whole nother art. Completely different.
Yeah, I agree
So,
with Griff too, though, that science today
yeah.
is 200 years ago was magic. And
Mhm.
you have to consider, societies like the Illuminati. They were based when they were
Mhm.
first originated. They were based on science. It was more of a scientific thing, which turned into a almost black magic satanic thing. Okay, so
Mhm.
you know things change. Our perspective of things is going to change over time. Humanity is going to rise and fall. Um, but if we don't rise together, we're going to continue to fall. You see what I mean?
Yep.
It's that vicious cycle over and over again. We're here to experience things. We're here to learn, and we're here to teach each other things. And until humanity as a
Mhm.
whole realizes that, I hate to say it this way, but humanity's doomed. You know, and the
Mhm.
vicious cycle, the controllers that be will turn it over and over again. Whether you call them controllers, reptilians, Illuminati, the cabal, the shadow government, you know, um, it doesn't matter what you call them. You can name them by family, okay? But as long as they have the ability to recycle humanity and take humanity and clone them and reinvent them every so often, because humanity in their eyes falls short of their goals, not the creator's goals, but of their
Mhm.
malevolent goals in this world. Okay, and as long as we give them the right and the ability and the belief that they have the power to recycle it every, say, 1,000 years or 500 years or whatever you want to call it, um, until we rebuke that approval, then humanity's never really going to be able to evolve in this body, okay, in this avatar or whatever you want to call it. Okay, we need to get rid of these elitists, these people that assume that they have more godly power than God. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Well, you got to consider people. People love to put, you got white witches and you got black witches, dark witches. My opinion, my theory. Sorry, this is what I've known from what I experienced. What you normally call a white witch is a healer. They heal.
Mm-hmm.
They use the properties of Mother Earth to heal an ailment within you or within something you have.
Right.
Then you have what you call the dark ones. And those are the ones that create chaos and destruction and mayhem. Those to me are the witches. So people want to people love titles. Oh, I want to be a witch, but I don't want to be associated with this, so I'm going to become a white witch. No, you got healers and you got witches. You got good, you got evil. That's just been my
Then
experience.
you got Wiccan.
Oh God, that's a whole nother thing in itself right there.
Yeah, which is more of an environmental magic, if you ask me. Wiccan's belief is more earthly bound, connected to Gaia than it is anything as far as spirituality goes.
That is
so.
That is the only religion I've found that doesn't have the same core value as all the other religions in the world. It's weird. I had a freaking guy. I had to get. We were in PTA, Pakalua Training Area, on the main island of Hawaii. That's up on the mountain where it actually one of the few places in Hawaii it actually snows. PTA. And we were gardening at Aha one night, and he comes up and he goes, "I'm Wiccan." I was like, "I have no clue what this is," and I'm 21, 22 at this time. But he goes, we believe that you were something else in another lifetime, and I believe you were this type of creature. And I don't remember what this creature was. And I was like, dude, gotcha.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was a different type of creature or not, but they were telling me that a lot. And I was like, yeah, this is not something I can get into. But he claimed to be Wiccan. And it was this. I was some kind of like weird freaking goat like thing. I don't even remember what he called it. I was like, yeah, we're good.
Well, I hope everybody can like, heart, and share this out, and definitely, if you can, pass the word out about getting people to subscribe, because we're trying to work on that 1,000 subscribers right now, and a lot of people, they tend to just not subscribe, but they see it come on and they think, oh, okay, well, this one's good, but I'm not going to watch the next one. And then they see it come on again and they think, oh, well, this one's pretty good too, and then they never subscribe. So, and the algorithm is based off of subscription, it's based off of the likes, and it's based off of the sharing. So if you want to help out the channel, that's the way to do it. Also, again, if anybody wants something made, whether it's a protective necklace, or something along that lines, or a set of earrings or whatnot, or a choker or whatnot, drop me a DM on social media and let me know, and we'll work with you and figure out what you want, and see if we can't get it together for you, okay, and get you a decent price. So that being said, I'm feeling kind of rough because I did that two different podcasts yesterday evening, and and then this morning, and with the weather we've got coming in, we've got this polar vortex thing coming in where it's supposed to drop down into the negative single digits and all that. In fact, it was colder than what out there today. So depending on how that affects my internet, unfortunately, because it was down for a while the other day, because of the internet company, which I'm not going to name because I'm not going to endorse them. Um, Hopefully, if everything goes right, we'll be back on again tomorrow. Okay. If not, I will post it on Facebook and in the group chat. Um, if everybody's not part of the group chat, let us know and we'll send you a link to it. And it's called Weirdo Warriors. And it's just a group chat to where we pass around information and all that. But yeah, I'm pretty worn out, and I just right now I feel like I could fall asleep right now. So I appreciate everybody being here. Twisted, Scott, Freaky, Camo, Roxanne, Girl with a Gong. You guys are awesome. Never forget that. Never forget that you are family. Okay. And never forget, you drop me a message if you need something. If you want to talk about something, or you have something you want to, confide in me about, what people confide in me, stays with me. Okay. It doesn't go any further. And that's just I guess you can just call it the spiritual person in me that does that. I consider people's word as good as gold, and I keep it quiet. Okay. Um, Also, this coming Wednesday night, if the weather permits, Ryan and I will be coming on Midnight Monsters. Okay, and we're going to be talking about all kinds of weird cryptids. Um, so look for that. Okay. Um, I've actually been considering maybe just having Eric and if he's up to it, um, coming on a Midnight's Monsters sometime with maybe Ryan, and talking about some of the cryptids that he's dealt with and that Ryan's dealt with. But we're going to get into all kinds of cryptid subjects on Midnight Monsters. So, and again, that's going to be at 11:59 p.m. Wednesday night. I'm not sure if we're going to do it every week. I don't think so. Right now, we currently have it set up to do only once a month, but I'll let everybody know. Okay. So, until then, peace, love, and blessings to everybody. Eric, why don't you tell them what you got going on today and tomorrow too, if you want.
Thanks. That was my glasses, Shadow. I appreciated that. That was very kind of you. Yeah, today we'll have campfire chats with Eric and Guess. That's where you get to come on, talk about your encounters. We'll talk about it in chat. If you want to come on live, we'll come on live. But that's where that's what I got going on tonight. I don't know about tomorrow's show yet. I've got a couple things in mind that I want to do. I just got to narrow it down. I'm trying to get some writing done. I was talking about it in chat earlier this morning. If you're a paid Patreon member of mine, I have the latest. I added an intro and finished chapter 6 and 7 of The Beast of the Ozarks. So that is available on my Patreon. If you're a unpaid Patreon subscriber, which you don't have access to them books, I have a special going on where you get a sneak peek into The Beast of the Ozarks to see if you're interested in becoming a $2 a month subscriber to my Patreon. And anybody who reads my books on there, I value your comments on how you think I'm going with the storyline. Yeah, I'm sure Roxanne. But I've got a couple ideas of what I kind of want to do tomorrow. I just haven't narrowed it down yet. The Thunderbird one we did last week seemed to be a really good one. I actually was talking to a Hindu about their Hindu version of the Thunderbird, and he was like, "Oh wow, yeah, you like that stuff?" I was like, "Yeah." But no, we're going to have some good stuff to talk about. I mean, last week on Campfire Chats, we've done some Google Earth images because I was talking about locations where I've seen paranormal stuff. Like we were talking with Urso and some of the others about when I seen the night marchers, and I showed them. I Google Earth it and showed them where I seen them at, so they can actually physically see it. On top of that, we looked at the dragon that's outside of Hawaii, the snake that makes up the island chains of Hawaii, the Leviathan. I mean, so we get if there ain't a whole lot of encounters, we do bring some other stuff in as well. Ego based. What do you mean by that? Ego based. I must have missed a comment somewhere. So I've got that going on. I've got to get my books done. I'm so far behind on writing, so that's what I'm gonna be doing mostly today. So if you're a Patreon subscriber, keep an eye on that.
All righty. Well, everybody have a great rest of your day, and hopefully we'll be able to get on tomorrow morning without a problem at 11 a.m. again, and we'll get into the next subject. Okay, Thriller,
Hey,
good
Thriller.
to see you, man. If you can, please like, heart, and share this out, guys. Okay, and love you all very much. You're all family. Weirdo Warriors. Question everything. Okay, and we'll see you tomorrow.